I'm 18 years old and last year I moved from the UK to Thailand alone, and I've been living here full time ever since. For me personally, this change has been the best thing that has happened in my life so far, and I'm very grateful that I've been able to do this at such a young age. However, living here hasn't just been butterflies and rainbows. There have been many negatives that I have had to face along the way, and some of them I actually still have to face to this day. And if I'm being completely honest, this life definitely isn't for everyone. There are definitely a lot of people out there that probably wouldn't be able to cope with a lot of these negatives. And in this video, I'm going to share some of these major negatives with you, as well as the positives and the reasons why I stay here despite these negatives. So if you are considering moving to Thailand from a Western country, then listen up, because this video will definitely help you to decide if this is truly worth doing for you. The first negative that I will share with you is one that a lot of people will consider a complete deal breaker, and some other people won't even care about it at all. So this one definitely does depend on you as a person. This negative is having to force yourself to be more social and outgoing. The reason why this negative definitely does depend on you as a person is because for some people, they are already naturally outgoing and sociable, and a lot of people actually love and thrive while being in these scenarios. Like, this is what an extrovert is. So for these people, this will be brilliant. They get to come here and socialize with people. If you are one of these people, you'd be pleased to know that there are many people here who just love socializing as well. However, if you are more introverted and you prefer being alone and you don't really like being in social scenarios very much and you find it hard to make friends or speak to people, then it might be a lot harder for you, and this negative might be more of a deal breaker. And if you are someone who is like able to change and you believe that you can change, then I would recommend doing this, because it will really grow you as a person. It will actually help you, and if you decide to return to your Western country, then you'll come back a more confident individual. But that being said, if you think you are someone who like physically just cannot become socially decent and you feel like there is like no way you can change, then this probably isn't worth it for you, because either you're going to have to like basically live in your hotel room alone and never push yourself, or you're just going to be uncomfortable. That's the thing, is Thailand is a super sociable place. Like, even though the locals aren't like the super, you know, way lads football, and like, or they're not like shouting and they're not like super extroverted and loud, they do like socializing and speaking to people they don't know, and it's just a sociable country, I guess you could say. And a lot of people know about this already, but if you don't, then you should definitely be prepared if you are a lot more introverted. The next major negative that I want to speak about in this video is something that most people who want to live here, and even people who already live here, struggle to accept, and that is that to people who don't know you, you will always just be this foreigner farang. Most foreigners in Thailand who actually look like foreigners, people like me, normally just stay here for a few days and move on to the islands like Koh Samui, or they just, you know, move on to another part of Asia or go home. The fact is, they normally stay in Bangkok for just a few days. And this just makes the locals think that most people who are clearly not from Thailand are just here short term. And that's for good reason, because Bangkok is actually the most visited city in the world. Or, well, it was last time I checked recently. You know, you've got so many people coming here to visit each year. And even though Bangkok has one of the highest expat rates as well, it's just this number of expats is just insignificant compared to the astronomical amount of people who come here to travel. And this just basically means that pretty much everyone, including other foreigners, believe that the people who are, you know, clearly not Thai are just tourists staying here for a couple days before they leave. And this can just kind of make a lot of locals, you know, a bit more hesitant to become closer friends with you, and it can make it harder to date. And you really need to like make it obvious to them and actually tell them like, hey, I actually live here. You're not just staying here in a hotel for a couple days before you move to another place. So you really need to make it clear to people that you actually live here, or they're just going to assume you are a farang, which is a Thai word for a foreigner. Fair enough. Of course they're going to think that, because most people, 99% of the people who are here are probably tourists and travelers staying here for a couple days. The last major negative does definitely also depend on the person, but this this one does definitely affect the vast majority of Westerners who move here. And to be honest, this does pretty much affect everyone who isn't Thai. And this negative is that your life doesn't feel as secure as if you were in your home country. And if I'm being honest, your life just actually isn't as secure if you're a foreigner here as if you were living in your home country. And this is for a couple of major reasons. One is finances, and two is how you actually feel when you live here. So the financial, I guess, instability that I'm talking about here is basically if you want to live here long term and you want to make money here, there's a few ways that you can do it. You either have your own business, it could be like a one-person freelancing business, or it could actually be a full proper business like Amazon or something. I'm not saying Jeff Bezos is watching this, but you know, a business, like it can be any sort of business. It's basically making money remotely. So this can also include a remote job. But yeah, these are the main ways that you can make money to live here, because forget getting hired by a Thai company unless you have one, a bachelor's degree, and two, if you speak Thai. And obviously a big benefit of being here financially is that the cost of living is a lot lower, meaning that even if you're making less money from your, I don't know, freelancing job or from your business, you don't need as much to live here as if you were living in a country like the UK or the US. But you see, making money remotely from freelancing or from a business or from really anything, even if you're teaching English, your job and your income is just going to be a lot less secure and stable as if you lived and worked in your own country. If you are a freelancer or a business owner, it's very likely that your money is going to go up and down each month. That's just kind of the nature of it. Unless you are like a business owner who gets paid almost like a salary by a client. So like you are doing marketing services for a company and they hire you for like $1,000 every month and like maybe sign a contract with them, then maybe you can get this secured income. But most people who work remotely, they're doing things like, I don't know, copywriting, and they work for a few different clients, or they are drop shipping, or they have some sort of online income source. And the nature of 99% of these income sources is that they do go up and down. They are relatively unstable. And if you are someone who is very like able to bounce back, then you don't really need to be worried about this so much. Or if you have backup clients and you're like really experienced in your field. But if you are getting started in making money online, or you're not extremely experienced and you don't have like a massive portfolio of success stories so you can just instantly get a job again, you do have that kind of lingering over your head of like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to like get my next paycheck. Especially if you have clients and you're a freelancer and you know, those clients don't just consistently give you the same amount of work each month. And you may be asking, how does this affect living in Thailand? And the truth is that, well, if it affects living in a foreign country that isn't your own, because if you were living in your own country and your income went down considerably, you could probably supplement this with a part-time job or a full-time job, or you could claim like benefits, or I guess you could say like a welfare to, you know, supplement your income. And also, like, you know, at least that you have a very good plan B, which is just getting a normal job. Whereas I guess for a lot of people, their plan B when they live here is going home, which is kind of sad. Like you know, they need to make this work, and sometimes things just don't work out the way that you want them to, and that can just sometimes result in a lot of people having to go home. Like, I know a few people that have had to just go home because they don't have the money to stay here, and that's just really sad. And the other thing outside of finances that is also not secure when you live here is also just your ability to be here outside of finances is also not very stable. You really can't step out of line much here. Like, if you do something bad here, like you get into a fight in a bar, you could be blacklisted and removed and deported from the country. Thailand's authorities are pretty strict. Like, they don't take crap, especially not from foreigners. And you may be thinking, well, I'm not gonna get into a bar fight anyway, so just isn't it fine? Well, no, because for example, let's just say you get scammed by a taxi driver. I have been a few times, and like many people have been scammed like this in Thailand. And let's just say you like don't accept this and you kind of like fight back against it, not physically, but you're like kind of argue back with the guy. If he's having a bad day, after you don't pay, he could just go and say you assaulted him or say that you scammed him to the authorities or to the police. and they have a much higher chance of siding with him, even with a lack of evidence, just because he's Thai and you're not. And I'm not saying every police officer like just doesn't care about you. It's more the fact that they're more likely to win. And obviously if you've got evidence that you didn't do it, you'll be fine. So as a foreigner here, you definitely have to tread more carefully, and you just need to watch what you do. And of course, this is fine. Like, you can just be a good guy, be a nice guy or girl, and just don't break the rules and be really careful when you're speaking to people, be respectful, and you have a very low chance of anything happening to you. I've been here 3 times now to this country, and I've stayed a long time in this country. If you add up all the time I've been here, and I've been here for a while now, and nothing's happened to me. Nothing even close has happened to me like this. Like, I haven't been arrested or any of it. It's just the fact that you do need to be more careful, and as long as you're careful, you'll be fine. And the last quick thing that I'll mention about this point is that also if you move here from a country that is quite a bit further away from Thailand, let's just say you're moving from the UK, it's very likely that you're not going to be fully certain if you want to stay here or not. You're probably going to have this thing lingering over your head of like, do I want to stay here? And like, is this for me? And so this kind of also adds to the, I guess, insecurity or instability to your life, because you're just not sure if you actually want to stay here for long. You're not sure how long you actually want to stay here for, especially in the first couple months. Like, when I first got here, I really wasn't sure if I was going to stay here long term. Obviously, when you stay here longer, you're going to realize that you want to be here, or you want to go home. You'll realize how you actually feel about the place the longer you stay. But for the first few months, things can definitely feel very unstable. So those are some of the major negatives that I have had to deal with, and that you will most likely have to deal with if you move to Thailand as a Westerner. But why do I choose to stay here despite these negatives? What are the benefits that outweigh these negatives so much that I stay here for such a long time and speak so well of doing so? One of the main benefits is that this place is authentic to me. I love being in a big city with a lot of energy, a high energy place which is very sunny and with a good cost of living, and this place has all of those things. Another big benefit of living here is that I can have a very nice lifestyle for a fraction of the price that it would cost in a Western country. In my opinion, Bangkok is just as cool, if not a bit cooler than London. However, London is 3 to 5 times more expensive than Bangkok when it comes to a lot of the essentials like rent and food. And the Thai beaches are better than pretty much any beach you can get in Europe. Obviously, that's my opinion. I've been to both, and I can say the Thai beaches are definitely better in my opinion, but that's what I think most people think as well. And being on the Thai beach costs a fraction of the price than being on a European beach, but you're actually getting more for your money, and you're getting more value in a way than you would be if you spent more money on the London apartment or the, you know, beach place in France or Spain. Obviously, this comes down to opinion. Some people wouldn't really want to be here and they'd rather be somewhere else. They'd rather be someplace in Europe, which is fair enough. If you want to be in like an older place and you prefer history and stuff, and you don't really care about skyscrapers or modernness and fancy malls and stuff, then fair enough, each to their own. It's just the fact that for what I personally like, this place is perfect and it offers me all of the things I actually want at this moment in my life. So there are some of the major negatives and positives of living in Bangkok as a foreigner. Hopefully this video helps you to decide if you want to do the same thing yourself. If you enjoyed this video or if it helped you, then please consider leaving a like, and I will see you in my next video.